Bereshis 1. In the beginning, Elohim created Hashemayim and Haaretz, and the earth was tohu vavohu, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Ruach Elohim was hovering upon the face of the waters. And Elohim said, "Let there be light." And there was light. And Elohim saw the light, and that it was tov. And Elohim divided the or from the choshek. And Elohim called the light Yom, and the darkness he called Laila. And the Erev and the Boker were Yom Echad. And Elohim said, "Let there be a Rakia, and divide the waters unto the Rakia from the waters which are above the Rakia." And it was so. And Elohim called the Rakia Shemayim, and the Erev and the Boker were Yom Sheni. And Elohim said, "Let the waters under the heaven be gathered together into one place, and let the Yabashah appear." And it was so. And Elohim called the Yabashah Eretz, and the Mikveh called he Seas. And Elohim saw that it was tov. And Elohim said, "Let the earth bring forth vegetation, the herb yielding zerah, and the fruit yielding pli after its kind, whose seed is in itself upon the earth." And it was so. And the earth brought forth vegetation, and the herb yielding zerah after its kind, and the tree yielding fruit, whose seed was in itself after its kind. And Elohim saw that it was tov. And the Erev and the Boker were Yom Shlishi. And Elohim said, "Let there be lights in the Rakia of the heaven, to divide the day from the night, and let them be for Notot, and for Moadim, and for Yamim, and Shanim. And let them be for lights in the Rakia of heaven, to give light upon the earth." And it was so. And Elohim made 2 great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the Kokavim also. And Elohim set them in the Rakia of heaven to give light upon the earth, and to rule over the day and over the night, to divide the light from the darkness. And Elohim saw that it was tov, and the Erev and the Boker were Yom Revi. And Elohim said, "Let the waters bring forth an abundance of living creatures and fowl that may fly about the earth in the open Rakia of heaven." And Elohim created great sea creatures and every living creature that moveth, which the waters brought forth in abundance after their kind, and every winged fowl after its kind. And Elohim saw that it was tov. And Elohim blessed them, saying, "Be fruitful and multiply, and fill the waters in the seas, and let fowl multiply in the earth." And the Erev and the Boker were Yom Chamishi. And God said, "Let the earth bring forth a living creature after its kind, cattle and creeping thing, and the beast of the earth after its kind." And it was so. And God made the beast of the earth after its kind, and cattle after their kind, and everything that creepeth upon the earth after its kind. And God saw that it was tov. And God said, "Let us make man in our tzelem after our demut, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon haaretz." So God created humankind in his own tzelem. In the tzelem Elohim created he him. Zachar and Nekevah created he them. And God blessed them, and God said unto them, "Be fruitful and multiply, and fill the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth." And God said, "Hene, I have given you every herb bearing seed, which is upon the face of kol haaretz, and every etz, in which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for food. And every beast of the earth, and every fowl of the air, and everything that creepeth upon the earth wherein there is life, I have given every green herb for food." And it was so. And God saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was tov meod. And the erev and the boker were yom shishi. Bereshis 2. Thus Hashemayim and Haaretz were finished, and all the tzava of them. And on Yom HaShavei, Elohim finished his work which he had made, and he rested on the Yom HaShavei from all his work which he had made. Vayevarek Elohim et Yom HaShavei, and set it apart as Kadosh, because that in it Shavat from all his work which bara Elohim had made. These are the toldot of Hashemayim and of Haaretz when they were created in the Yom that Hashem Elohim made Eretz v'Shemayim. And every plant of the Sadeh was not yet in Haaretz, and every herb of the Sadeh had not yet yitzmak, for Hashem Elohim had not caused it to rain upon Haaretz, and there was not an Adam la'avod ha'adamah. But there went up a mist from Haaretz, and watered the whole face of the Adamah. And Hashem Elohim formed the Adam of the Afar min ha'adamah, and breathed into his nostrils the nishmat chayim. And the Adam became a nefesh chaya. And Hashem Elohim planted a gan eastward in Eden, and there he put the Adam whom he had formed. And out of the Adamah made Hashem Elohim to spring up kol etz, that is pleasing to the sight, and tov for food. The etz ha'chaim also in the midst of the gan, and the etz ha'da'as tov v'ra. And a nahar flowed out of Eden to water the gan, and from there it divided and became 4 headwaters. The shem of the first is Pishon. That is it which winds through kol eretz chavila, where there is za'av, and the za'av of that land is tov. There is bedolach, and the evin chashoham. And the shem of the second nahar is Gihon, the same as it that winds through kol eretz gush. And the shem of the third nahar is Hidekel, that is it which goeth towards the east of Asilia. And the fourth nahar is Euphrates. And Hashem Elohim took the Adam and put him in the Gan Eden la'avod it, and to be shomer over it. And Hashem Elohim commanded the Adam, saying, of every etz of the Gan thou mayest freely eat, but of the etz hada'as tov v'ra thou shalt not eat of it, for the yam that thou eatest thereof thou shalt surely die. And Hashem Elohim said, it is not told that the Adam shall be alone. I will make him an Ezer, suitable for him. And out of the Adamah Hashem Elohim formed every beast of the Sadeh, and every Of Hashemayim, and brought them unto the Adam to see what he would name them. And whatsoever the Adam named Kol Nefesh Chaya, that was Shmo. And the Adam gave Shemot to all Behemah, and to the Of Hashemayim, and to every beast of the Sadeh. But for Adam there was not found an Ezer for him. And Hashem Elohim caused a Tartema to fall upon the Adam, and he slept, and he took from one of his tzalelot, closed up the basach in the place thereof, and the tzelah which Hashem Elohim had taken from Adam made he an Isha, and brought her unto the Adam. And the Adam said, this is now etzem of my etzem, and basar of my basar. And she shall be called Isha, because she was taken out of Ish. Therefore shall an Ish leave his Av and his Em, and shall cleave unto his Isha, and they shall be basar echad. And they were both Ahumim, the Adam and his Isha, and were not ashamed. Bereshis 3. Now the Nakash was more Ahum than any beast of the Sadeh, which Hashem Elohim had made. And he said unto the Isha, really, hath Elohim said, ye shall not eat of kol etz hagan? And the Isha said unto the Nakash, We may eat of the pli etz hagan, but of the pli ha'etz, which is in the middle of the gan, Elohim hath said, ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. And the Nachash said unto the Isha, ye shall not surely die, for Elohim doth know that in the Yom ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be like Elohim, knowing Tov and Cha. And when the Isha saw that ha'etz was tov for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and ha'etz to be desired to make one have seichel, she took up the pli thereof, and did eat, and gave also unto her Ish with her, and he did eat. And the eyes of them both were opened, and they knew that they were erumim, and they sewed ale te'ena together, and made themselves kagorot. And they heard the call of Hashem Elohim walking in the gan in the cool of the day, and Adam and his Isha hid from the presence of Hashem Elohim amongst the Etz Hagan. And Hashem Elohim called out unto Ha'adam and said unto him, where art thou? And he said, I heard thy voice in the gan, and I was afraid because I was Aram, and so I hid. And he said, who told thee that thou wast Aram? Hast thou eaten of ha'etz, which I commanded thee that thou not eat thereof? And Adam said, the Isha whom thou gavest to be with me, she gave me of ha'etz, and I did eat. And Hashem Elohim said unto the Isha, what is this that thou hast done? And the Isha said, the Nachash beguiled me, and I did eat. And Hashem Elohim said unto the Nachash, because thou hast done this, thou art a chur above kol ha-behema, and above every beast of the sadeh. Upon thy gakon shalt thou go, and afar shalt thou eat all the days of thy life, and I will put Eva between thee and Haisha, and between thy zirah and her zirah. I shall crush thy rosh, and thou shalt strike his akir. Unto Haisha he said, I will greatly multiply thy itzavun and thy childbearing. In pain thou shalt bring forth banim, and thy teshukah shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. And unto Adam he said, because thou paid heed unto the voice of thy Isha, and hast eaten of ha'etz, of which I commanded thee, saying, thou shalt not eat of it. Arura is ha'adama because of thee. In itzavon shalt thou eat of it all the days of thy life. Kots also and dar shall it bring forth to thee, and thou shalt eat the esev of the sadeh. In the sweat of thy brow shalt thou eat lechem, till thou return unto ha'adama. For out of it wast thou taken. For afar thou art, and unto apar shalt thou return. And Adam called the Shem of his Isha Chava, Eve, because she was the Kol Chai. Unto Adam also and to his Isha did Hashem Elohim make kesonos or, and clothed them. And Hashem Elohim said, see, Adam has become like one of us, knowing Tov v'Ra. And now lest he put forth his yad, and take also of ha'etz ha'chaim, and eat, and chai lolam. Therefore Hashem Elohim sent him forth from the Gan Eden to work Adamah, from which place he was taken. So he drove out Hadam, and he placed Mikedem of the Gan Eden, ha-keruvim, and the flaming cherev, which was ever turning to be shomer over the terek etz ha-chaim. Bereshis 4. And Adam knew Chava, his Isha, and she conceived, and bore Cain, and said, Kaniti ish with Hashem. And again she bore his Ach Hevel, and Hevel was a Roe Tzon, but Cain was an Oved Adama. And in Ketz Yamim it came to pass that Cain brought of the Pri Ha'adama a mincha unto Hashem. And Hevel he also brought of the Bechorot of his tzon, and of the chelev thereof. And Hashem regarded unto Hevel and to his mincha. But unto Cain and to his mincha he had not regard. And Cain was very angry, and his countenance fell. And Hashem said unto Cain, Why art thou angry? And why is thy countenance fallen? If thou doest right, shalt thou not be accepted? And if thou doest not right, chatat croucheth at the pitach, and unto thee shall be its teshukah, and thou must rule over it. Then Cain talked with Hevel his brother, and it came to pass, while they were in the sadeh, that Cain rose up against Hevel his brother, and killed him. And Hashem said unto Cain, Where is Hevel thy brother? And he said, I know not, am I shomer achi? And he said, What hast thou done? The voice of thy brother's dam crieth unto me from ha'adamah, and now thou art aror from ha'adamah, which hath opened her mouth to receive thy brother's dam from thy hand. When thou tillest ha'adamah, it shall not henceforth yield unto thee her koach, na vanad shalt thou be in ha'aretz. And Cain said unto Hashem, My avon is greater than I can bear. See, thou hast driven me out this day from the face of ha'adamah, and from thy face shall I be hidden, and I shall be in na vanad, in ha'aretz, and it shall come to pass that whoever findeth me shall kill me. And Hashem said unto him, Therefore, whoever killeth Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold. And Hashem placed an ot upon Cain, so that none finding him should kill him. And Cain went out from the presence of Hashem, and dwelt in the Eretz Nod, east of Eden. And Cain knew his Isha, and she conceived and bore Chanok, and he built an Ir, and called the Shem of the Ir after the Shem Beno, Chanok. And unto Chanok was born Irad, and Irad fathered Mechuyael, and Mechuyael fathered Metushael, and Metushael fathered Lamech. And Lamech took unto him 2 Nashim, the Shem of the one was Adah, and the Shem of the second Silah. And Adah bore Yaval, and he was the Av of such as dwell in Ochel and have Mikneh. And his brother Shem was Yuval, he was the Av of all such play Kinor and Ugav. And Silah she also bore Tuval Cain, a forger of every cutting tool of Nechoshet and Pachsel, and the Achot of Tuval Cain was Naama. And Lamech said unto his wives, Adah and Silah, Hear my voice, you wives of Lamech, give heed to my speech. For I have slain an Ish for my wounding, and a Yelet for my Chaburah. If Cain shall be avenged sevenfold, truly Lamech 77 times over. And Adam knew his Isha again, and she bore a Ben, and called Shmuel Shet. For Elohim, said she, hath appointed me another Tzerah, in place of Hevel, whom Cain killed. And to Shet, to him also there was born a Ben, and he called Shmuel Enosh. Then began men to call upon the Shem of Hashem. Bereshis 5. This is the Sefer Toldot Adam. In the Yom that bara Elohim Adam, in the Demut Elohim he made him. Zakar and Nekevah he created them, and blessed them, and called the Shem of them Adam, in the Yom when they were created. And Adam lived 130 Shana, and fathered in his own Demut, and after his Tzelem, and called Shmuel Shet. And the days of Adam after he had fathered Shet was Shemone Me'ot Shana, and he fathered Banim and Banot. And all the days that Adam lived were 930 Shana, and he died. And Shet lived 105 Shana, and fathered Enosh. And Shet lived after he fathered Enosh 807 Shana, and fathered Banim and Banot. And all the days of Shet were 912 Shana, and he died. And Enosh lived 90 Shana, and fathered Kenan. And Enosh lived after he fathered Kenan 815 Shana, and fathered Banim and Banot. And all the days of Enosh were 905 Shanim, and he died. And Kenan lived 70 Shana, and fathered Mahalalel. And Canaan lived after he fathered Mahalalel 840 Shana, and fathered Banim and Banot. And all the days of Canaan were 910 Shanim, and he died. And Mahalalel lived 65 Shana, and fathered Yered. And Mahalalel lived after he fathered Yered 830 Shana, and fathered Banim and Banot. And all the days of Mahalalel were 895 Shana, and he died. And Yered lived 162 Shana, and he fathered Chanuk. And Yered lived after he fathered Chanuk 800 Shana, and fathered Banim and Banot. And all the days of Yered were 962 Shana, and he died. And Chanuk lived 65 Shana, and fathered Metushelach. And Hanok walked with Ha-Elohim after he fathered Metushelach 300 Shana, and fathered Banim and Banot. And all the days of Hanok were 365 Shana, and Hanok walked with Ha-Elohim, and he was not, for Elohim took him. And Metushelach lived 187 Shana, and fathered Lamech. And Metushelach lived after he fathered Lamech 782 Shana, and fathered Banim and Banot. And all the days of Metushelach were 969 Shana, and he died. And Lamech lived 182 Shana, and fathered Ben. And he called Shmo Noach, saying, Say, Yenachamenu, in our work and toil of our hands, because of the Adamah which Hashem hath cursed. And Lamech lived, after he fathered Noach, 595 Shana, and fathered Banim and Banot. And all the days of Lamech were 777 Shana, and he died. And Noach was 500 years old, and Noach fathered Shem, Cham, and Yefet.
Bereshis, chapter 6. And it came to pass, when Ha'adam began to multiply on the face of Ha'adamah, and Banot were born unto them, that the Bnei Ha-Elohim saw the Banot Ha'adam, that they were tovot, and took them nashim of all which they chose. And Hashem said, Ba'eruach shall not always strive with Adam, for that he also is basar, yet his yamim shall be 120 shana. Hanephilim were on Ha'aretz in those yamim, and also after that, when the Bnei Ha-Elohim came in unto the Banot Ha'adam, and they bore children to them, the same became Giborim, which were of old, men of renown. And Hashem saw that the wickedness of Ha'adam was great in Ha'aretz, and that every yetzer of the machshevot of his lev was only Ra continually. And Hashem relented that he had made Ha'adam on Ha'aretz, and he was hurt in his lev. And Hashem said, I will wipe out Ha'adam, whom I have created from the face of Ha'adamah, both Adam and Behemah, and the Remes and the Of Hashemayim, for I relent that I have made them. But Noach found chen in the eyes of Hashem. These are the toldot of Noach. Noach was an ish tzadik and tamim among those of his time, and Noach's halacha was with Ha-Elohim. And Noach fathered 3 banim, Shem, Cham, and Yefet. Ha'aretz also was corrupt before Ha-Elohim, and Ha'aretz was filled with Hamas. And Elohim looked upon Ha'aretz, and it was corrupt, for Kol Basar had corrupted his direct upon Ha'aretz. And Elohim said unto Noach, the ketz of Kol Basar is come before me, for Ha'aretz is filled with Hamas because of them, and I will destroy them with Ha'aretz. Make thee a teva of gopher wood. Rooms shalt thou make in the teva, and shall coat it within and without with tar. And this is how thou shalt build it. The length of the teva shall be 300 cubits, the width of it 50 cubits, and the height of it 30 cubits. A roof shalt thou make to the teva, and thou shalt finish it to a cubit from the top. And the door of the teva shalt thou set in the side thereof, with lower, second, and third decks shalt thou make it. And hineni I, even I, do bring a mabul of waters upon ha'aretz to destroy kol basar, wherein is the ruach chayim from under Shemayim, and everything that is in ha'aretz shall perish. But with thee will I establish my brit, and thou shalt come into the teva, thou and thy banim, and thy isha, and the nashim of thy banim with thee. And of every living thing of kol basar, 2 of every kind shalt thou bring into the teva, to keep them alive with thee. They shall be zakar and nekeva. Of birds after their kind, and of behemah after their kind. Of every remes of ha'adama after its kind. 2 of every kind shall come unto thee, to keep them alive. And take thou unto thee of all food that is eaten, and thou shalt gather it to thee, and it shall be for ochel, for thee, and for them. Thus did Noach, according to all that Elohim commanded, so did he.